pray is really not simple. A teacher was confronted by a student who went up to him with a complaint. He said, "Rabbi, I have such a difficult time praying. I try to put all of my emotional energy into praying. I think really hard. I try to be full of kavanah, of intention to reach toward God, and all I ever succeed in doing is getting a whopping headache. What do I do?" The rabbi answered him, "Instead of praying with your head, why don't you try praying with your heart?" That may be what makes all the difference in the world. We are very intellectual people. We tend to live our entire lives inside of our head. We have degrees, we have great learning, we have great stature, and we try to intellectualize everything, even things spiritual in our own life. We talk about good and evil as not participants, but as bystanders. We tend to talk about life from a philosophical point of view instead of being active, a part of life. We intellectualize virtually everything to the point that we are no longer actually in the mix of it, but almost like we are standing on the periphery. We're outside looking in, generalizing, making these grandiose statements about life instead of feeling with our gut about it. This finds its place in the Torah reading this week, which is called Ve'et Hanan, the second Torah reading in the book of Deuteronomy. In Ve'et Hanan, it starts out by Moses praying to God. In this instance, the prayer to God is Moses' plea before HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he be allowed to enter into the Holy Land. Moses already knows that he's being denied. He will, like the rest of the generation, die before entering into Eretz HaKodesh, the Holy Land. And Moses doesn't want to settle for that. So he argues, he cries, he pleads before God. And what we learn from that powerful prayer experience of Moses is that you pray with your heart. You pray most elementally for things that you want. It sounds, and many people have a great difficulty with it, it sounds almost as if that's not worthy of prayer. One shouldn't pray for oneself. It sounds too selfish, too personal. We should concern ourselves with everybody should love one another. Everybody should throw down their weapons and love peace and sing kumbaya. I don't mean to be too flip about it, but the truth is that prayer of the heart is often very self-centered. We pray for things that we desperately want. We pray for things that we desperately cling to in need. And that really is the focus of where all prayer begins, starting with the self, the yearning of the soul. What is it that I want before God? God already knows it already. We don't have to engage in self-deceit or worse, in intellectual pursuits when we're engaged in prayer. We can be honest, spiritually, emotionally honest, and saying, God, this is what I need. I'm putting it right before you right now. Let me open my heart before your heart, and please understand and accept the depth and the anguish of my prayer that I give to you today. Maybe the holiest prayer is at the same time the simplest. Shabbat Shalom.